car. Travelite 79 litre bag, travel bag they call it. Some sites call it a duffel, and I need this for a specific reason. I've done a review on the other bag that I'll be taking, and I'll reiterate that explanation. Basically, a suitcase, which I have a couple of really nice ones, fold out. I need a top loader because I'm going to be living out of a vehicle, probably sitting on the back seat of the car with this, and it's also going to be used possibly on a yachting trip where you don't have room for opening suitcases. You get a pokey little cabin, a bit like camping to be honest. So I needed a top loader. Well, I've got one. I bought the OEX from an outdoors company called Go Outdoors, very basic, £50. And the reason I didn't want to spend much money was because I aren't going to use these bags very often. And I've got two perfectly adequate suitcases for normal travel, but it's just for these odd trips where I need a top loader. So I bought this OEX 70 litre and kept niggling me thinking, is there going to be enough room in it for a 2 and 3 week holiday? So I've been out and looked for another one. Now you won't believe how difficult it is to find a top loading bag with wheels that does everything you want it to do. And what I'm looking for it to do is not a lot. I'm looking for it to be as basic as possible and hopefully keep the price down to around that £50 mark. Well, this was £45. Travelite, German company based in Hamburg. Unlike most of the stuff where I like to go out and test them in the shop, it's becoming more and more difficult nowadays. So this has been bought on Amazon and I'm hoping that I don't have to send it back. But to be honest, for the price, which was £45, if there's slight defect with it I find after I've used it a couple of times, I ain't going to argue about it. I don't want to waste money like that, but for me it isn't worth the aggro trying to send it back and get the money. So we've got a cheap bag in here, so we're going to just get it open. And I've just seen the pictures, so I'm not 100% sure what to expect. Delivery on time on this was about 2 to 5 days. This has taken about 4 days to come, so I don't know if they do actually send them all the way from Germany or whether Amazon actually have them in stock. Paper there, packaging. So here we have it. It's a decent sized box, so it hasn't got scrunched up. So we'll lift that out of there. I'll get rid of this. Where shall I put that? Over there. Crash bang. I really don't know what to expect here. So let's just have a quick look here. So we've got the roller wheels, and like the OEX, I quite like these because they're integrated into the base here, which protects them from getting bashed about too much, hopefully. Now then, you can tell the difference with these wheels. They're not running as freely as on my other suitcases, but then again the other suitcases cost 3 times as much as this. But take a look at the handle at this end. Yeah, it's not too substantial, but it feels okay. It slides in nice and easily. Okay, we've got two handles there. Very good. Now then, I did read some negative reviews about this, saying that, oh, it hasn't got any structure, it flops inside itself, and I can imagine that may be a problem, because unlike the OEX bag that I reviewed, there are no over the top straps, no compression straps. So I think that when I come to use this, we're probably going to put bulky stuff in here, like boots and jackets. Here we go. Oh, there's the label. So I've got a little side pouch here. Now, when they say this is 79 litres, I wasn't sure how much they were going to refer to would be this side pouch. So I've got a sneaky feeling that this is going to be something like 10 litres, but it's difficult to tell. The zip just snagging a little bit there. Yeah. Yeah, the zip doesn't feel brilliant. Try this one. But remember, £45, you aren't going to get much for your money. You're talking to a bloke here who likes to do without for 12 months and save up to get something 10 times better than this, rather than just splash out a few quid for something cheap. I'm interested in the size of the loader at the top. I say, because it's such a big cavernous space, it's difficult to... There we are, we're in. We've got the customary mesh netting pouch in there. It's quite a good size, and that zip is running really nicely. The lining inside is sealed, it's not removable. Just one big cavernous space, which is what I want, because if you stood outside your vehicle and you just want to reach in, and this will probably be sitting on the back seat when we're using it day to day as we're travelling. I should point out we're going to be camping, and when we get out there and you have a look at it in use, you'll see that we're going to be camping in some quite wild places. So it is what I wanted. I would have liked some sort of compression strap over the top so that it's a little bit more secure. I don't like these bits of rubber beading. Now they're obviously there to protect the bag, but it feels a little bit cheap, and of course it is cheap because the whole bag's blooming cheap, isn't it? £45. I can't complain. I've seen plenty of people online that do complain, but you've got to think about what you're paying for. So the handles here, very basic fabric, nothing special there. Yeah, there's not really a lot to say about it. I can understand why some people say, oh, it's just a little bit cumbersome, but we're going to have some bulky stuff to pop in, and like I said, boots and jackets, which can take up quite a bit of space, because sometimes you're not sure what the weather's going to be, so you've got to prepare for all eventualities. But I didn't want to take reams and reams of stuff. We'll also be carrying a couple of rucksacks as well, which you can get the smaller stuff in. So what we're going to do is load this up. It says it can take about 23 kilos I think it is, so that's fine because the weight limit on most airlines is going to be 20 kilos. So you're going to be putting 16 kilos, 17 kilos in. The actual weight of the bag actually is quite light, it's 2.5 kilos. So that'll leave you, if you've got a 20 kilo limit, of about 17.5 kilos you could put in it. So we're going to load it up, we're going to take it away, bung it on a plane, drag it half around where we're going, watch it get bashed about and see if it makes it back. Oh, and another thing that I would like as well is there's only one grab handle on this end. I would have liked one on this end as well, so you can pick it up for manoeuvring it about. There isn't, so like I said, you get what you pay for. Personally, the OEX bag that I reviewed as well along with this, I do prefer that as a bag, but it was the literage that was the problem. And you try going online. I spent hours searching for a simple bag, £50-ish, which I don't know what's that. That's going to be about 55 euros, maybe $60, something like that. And it was difficult. They all come with various things that I didn't want. So in the end, I was really restricted, and I bought this OEX bag that, as I said, was in a previous review, and I couldn't find anything else. I was almost thinking I was going to have to buy a second OEX bag, but then I spotted this and I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. Well, let's give it a go and then we'll see. Was it worth the 45 quid? I can't imagine it won't be for what it is, but let's see if it's in one piece when we get back. It is. So amazingly they let me through security. Let's take a look on the board and see if we can see where we're going. What we're looking for is one that says Frankfurt. That wouldn't be that interesting, would it? I've been to Frankfurt before, so when we get there we'll have a look and see where we're going next. So as you saw from that graphic, we're not in Frankfurt. I'm not saying Frankfurt's not very interesting, but this is more interesting, Namibia. And we'll have a look and see why I bought those two bags. Take a look at the packaging arrangements here. Now, back of the vehicle, we've got pretty well stocked up with camping gear. We can get the bags in, but we don't want to be lifting them in and out. So I needed something that would fit on the back seat. So let's take a look at the back seat. It's exciting, this, isn't it? And there's nothing more exciting than a back seat. So at the moment we've got one of the bags on the seat here. The other bag is just over there somewhere. My wife's faffing in there looking for her underwear or something like that. But just to show you the principle of why I couldn't bring the suitcases. So this is the solution. There's only two of us. The back of the vehicle is free. The rear seating, that is. So all I needed was two bags that would fit. I was also a little bit restricted on which bags I bought because, being the bit of an anorak I am, I went and got the dimensions, internal dimensions of a Toyota Hilux, and I wanted two bags that would fit across the back seats and still be able to close the doors. So it sort of limited the choice in that aspect. But as you can see, open the bag up, we've got access into all our stuff here, easy peasy, put it back, and if we have to leave the vehicle, we'll just zip this up and dump it on top of all the stuff in the back for security. So all in all, it's a practical solution, and the question is, will these relatively cheap bags stand up to the 3.5 weeks excuse me, to the 3.5 weeks trekking around Namibia, not to mention the 2 flights to get us back home afterwards. We shall see. So we're back, and I say we're back, I've been back 3 days. This bag's been on tour. Slight problems with the flights, and I was going to do my usual video of the old bag coming down the carousel in the baggage claim. So I waited and waited, camera ready. Everybody else took their bags, empty carousel going round and round, and no travelite bag. So I had to go and put a claim in, blah blah, where's my bag? We'll send it to you. Anyway, 3 days later, it's turned up. Now, it's in more or less the condition it was when we left. It has had, of course, a lot more manhandling because it didn't come on my flight. It had to be sent somewhere else, maybe stored, then it had to come on another flight. Then it had to be picked up by the people at the baggage reclaim and dumped somewhere else. Then it had to be picked up by the courier that the airport uses to repatriate the luggage. And then it was passed on to DHL, who then tried to deliver it, but they couldn't because we weren't at home. So it had to go back to their depot, and I actually drove over there and picked it up yesterday. But it has come back in one piece. Now, I say one piece, I've talked before about TSA locks on suitcases which enable the customs people to get into your bag. Well, I did get stopped a couple of times with this bag because there was various tubes in it of, not tubes of liquid, tubes which were part of an erection system for my tarp that I took, plus camera tripods, and they looked suspicious on the scans, so we had a bit of opening up and checking to do here and there. But because we weren't with the bags when they came back into the country, and I'm assuming this is who's done it, if you have a closer look in here, the little catch that the padlock goes through, they've broken it to get into the bag, and the padlock that was on this one has gone. You know, having opened it, you would have hoped they would have put the padlock inside or something, but it's gone. The bag itself, cheap, yes. For a one-off trip, fine. As I mentioned earlier, when I first got it, I just didn't like the feel of this big bulky bit, and I don't know why it is, but this little end piece here never seemed to get full. It always seems to have space in there. Now that's down to the packing, but it's just the shape of the bag just doesn't feel right. This compartment we never used. We couldn't secure that. We didn't have a use for it, and we didn't want anything in there that could be easily accessed. I mean, you can easily access this just by snapping it off like the customs have done, but at least having a padlock on deters somebody. So my biggest criticism of this bag is the one handle. When moving it from vehicle backwards, forwards, this was a pain. Yes, you've got this, and yes, I can lift it one and up, but all the time I was doing this, picking it up like this, putting it down there. The bag would get a higher score if it just had another handle on to make it easier to manhandle about. Everything else seems fine, except I'm looking closely at the stitching, and some of it looks a little bit stretched, like it won't stand up to much more wear and tear without splitting. But again, remember, we paid next to nothing for this bag compared to what you can pay. So all in all, I'll give it 3 out of 10. Sorry, not 3 out of 10. I won't be that cruel. I'll give it 3 out of 5. 2.5, 3 out of 5. It is what it is. Don't expect too much. It is, if you can't fill it, you're going to end up with a lot of spare space, and the lack of straps, compression straps, to be able to reduce its size would be frustrating. It would be for me anyway. So wheels are working, handles are still working, so it's done the job. But if it was going to be a main piece of luggage for me that I was using regular, I wouldn't have bought this one. But as a one-off here and there, yeah, I'm happy with what I've got out of it.